Okay, here's our interview with Mike McCormick.
Why don't we start with you making the case to the House of Representatives, I guess it would be, that our current president should be impeached.
Okay. So based on what I've seen in the Hunter Biden laptop and having traveled to Ukraine with Joe Biden 3 times, I think Joe's involvement was he had direct involvement in the Burisma association that Hunter Biden was paid to do. Personally, I think Joe put him in that place. And I wrote about that in my book, Joe Biden Unauthorized and the 2020 Crack Up of the Democratic Party. 2 years ago, I published that, self-published. It's on Amazon. And what I said at that time was before the laptop had come out. But I had some I literally stumbled across some evidence of meetings that were conducted in the White House, in the West Wing. And the evidence was in the White House visitor logs. And the meetings were in the mid-April timeframe of 2014, which is right before Joe was going to Ukraine. And at that time...
And by the way, he went on the board. When did Hunter go on the board?
Well, that's what's interesting. Hunter went on the board officially in May, but he starts putting together a team to look into associations in Russia in February. And actually, the first time he and his business partner at the time, Chris Hines and Devin Archer, these 3 guys had a company. I don't remember. They had a lot of companies. I don't remember the exact name off the top of my head. Thornton was one of there's like 3 words. And one of them was a lake in the Finger Lakes region. But Thornton was one of this company. They got $3.5 million from an associate of Vladimir Putin in early February 14th. So it was a Valentine's Day gift. $3.5 million sent to this company. A week later, Joe Biden is on the phone with the president of Ukraine, Yanukovych, who was a Putin puppet. He says, there's a Maidan revolution going on. There are, people are demonstrating in the town square. You're shooting them with your snipers. You have to leave right now. There'll be a war crimes tribunal. Leave now. The next day, this guy Yanukovych deserts Ukraine. The Maidan revolution scores a victory. Freedom-loving Ukrainians are delighted. Although why
do they call it what is Maidan? What's that refer to?
The Maidan is the square, Independence Square there in Kyiv. It's the main, they call it the Maidan Revolution, the revolution where they fortified this square. They had thousands of people behind these self-made fortifications for months. And then all of a sudden, these snipers started shooting. And this is a week after they get all this money from Moscow.
Yeah. And
so
by the way, touch on it either now or when we get to it, which is this allegation that some just flat out blatantly say it was the U.S. that was behind this revolution, or whatever you want to refer to it as.
That's right. There was in late January, there was a leaked phone call that was done. It was, people think it was the Russians who leaked it. It could have been the Ukrainians who leaked it. There's so much corruption over there. You don't know which side is really on your side. And so there's a leaked phone call between Victoria Nuland and the ambassador, whose name is Pyatt, Jeffrey Pyatt. And they're talking about, we want to have this, we're going to support this new government. Yatsenyuk is the guy we want to support. And by the way, Joe Biden wants to be the guy to come and do it. And this is the end of February. So then Hunter Biden gets this $3.5 million money transfer from a Putin associate. And then a week after that, Joe calls up and gets rid of the Putin puppet. 3 weeks after that, Putin invades Crimea. There's a sequence of events there. As soon as Putin invades Crimea, Joe goes into Poland. The whole time he's talking about energy security for Ukraine. I'm here to do energy security for Ukraine, which is Burisma. I've seen emails in the Hunter Biden laptop where he and his business associates are already lining up lawyers in February to set up it's hard to tell what they're setting up at this point. They're just setting up a meeting. Then in the middle of March, so the very same weekend that Joe Biden goes to Poland, and the guy who is already on the board of Burisma is the former president of Poland, a guy named Kwasniewski. He and Joe are old friends. I talk about this in my book, and I say, I think Joe Biden met with Kwasniewski when he was in Poland, and I think that's when they set up Burisma. That very same weekend, Hunter Biden goes to a dinner party with the members of his law firm, Boyes, Flexner, and Schiller. And they—
Is that David Boyes?
What's that?
Is that Boyes as in David Boyes?
Yes, right.
Yeah. Represented.
So that's on March 17th, 2014. The very next morning, guess who signs up to be a lawyer for Hunter Biden? A woman named Heather King. Heather King becomes his lawyer with Burisma from then on. This is the middle of March, not May, March. They're already talking about what we're going to do. In the middle of March, Hunter Biden goes to Lake Como in Italy and has a meeting with the woman who sent him this $3.5 million. Her name is Yelena Baturina. She's a Russian. She's then married to the mayor of Moscow. He's since passed away. She's one of the wealthiest women in Moscow. She's giving him all this money, throwing money at him. And so then it becomes this association with Burisma. Joe Biden goes into Burisma with, $1 billion of loan guarantees. And by the way, we're going to do, energy security package.
Okay, let's try to connect some of these dots. The $3.5 million from the wife of the Moscow mayor.
Right.
Tell me more about that. What do we think was behind that? What was she trying to achieve with that?
Well, the money that went to this Thornton company, and so this is red flagged by the Treasury Department. Whenever there's two major politically affiliated people that are involved in a major money transfer like that, the Treasury Department red flags it. So this transfer comes in February 14th. I know from having worked in the White House that the Treasury Department is right next to the White House. Somebody would have seen this red flag and said, wait a minute, this involves the son of the Secretary of State, John Kerry's stepson, John Kerry, Chris Hine was his stepson, and the son of the Vice President, Hunter Biden. We're going to walk this right over to the West Wing. I guarantee they would have walked into the West Wing and talked to the Chief of Staff. Look, we got this money transfer. Red flags are going off. Nobody says anything. I guarantee Joe knew that his son got this money before he made this call to this Yanukovych president during the Maidan Revolution murders. So then what happens? Right?
Yeah. I mean, and just to set it up for myself and for the listeners, the confusing part here is that when you're talking about Russia and Moscow, Yanukovych is their puppet. So you're thinking they don't want this guy removed, yet Biden is acting to remove him. So we've got this oddity. So that's why, I'm really curious what we think this Moscow wife's contribution was all about.
Right.
Payment.
I mean, to me, it's Vladimir Putin knowing he's compromised the Bidens. And it's also the Obama administration realizing they've got people that are affiliated with their people that are compromised. We've got red flags on the sons of our Secretary of State and our Vice President.
I mean, it's such an unusual. I mean, do we have any specifics about this payment? Is what it's for? As somebody in a prior life, I used to hire lobbyists all the time, and it was never about big upfront payments. It was about monthly payments, and usually it could be that big if the project was big, big enough and important enough, but it would still be $3.5 million. I mean, the most you're going to pay any lobby firm is maybe $1 million per year. And yet this is, how much was it again? 3 million?
$3.5 million at the top. The payments go on all the way through December 2015. There's several $1 million. And this Baturina woman, I've seen some reporting, Miranda Devine, she wrote Laptop from Hell, which is a really great book. I believe she's reported that there were millions more between Baturina and Devon Archer. And so that wasn't specifically related to Hunter Biden. So these guys are all sort of cutting their own deals. But at this point, we've got the son of the vice president, the son of the secretary of state, getting $3.5 million from a Russian associate, from an associate of Vladimir Putin.